Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jack Hyland, co-chair of the Teachers College Board of Trustees.
Good afternoon. As co-chair of the Board of Trustees of Teachers College, I have the honor of officially opening today's ceremony. On behalf of the entire community of TC, I welcome you to the 2016 Masters Convocation. It's my pleasure to introduce the President of Teachers College, Susan Furman.
Good afternoon. Welcome to a most joyous occasion as we honor the talented women and men who already have achieved so much and are just getting started. I give you the 2016 Master's graduates of Teachers College. Congratulations, graduates, you made it. More. And congratulations as well, who helped you to make it to this day, our outstanding faculty and dedicated staff. And let's all show our appreciation to your families and partners for their love, encouragement, and support. Graduates, you now join the ranks of our 90,000 alumni who are leaders in education, psychology, and health. Like them, you now have great power. You have the power to reshape and energize the learning, caring, and research environments where you work. You have the power to develop innovative content and pedagogies that transform math and science education. You have the power to build new bridges of understanding and productive engagement with diverse communities and cultures throughout the world. You have the power to improve productivity and performance at your organizations. And you have the power to lead the revolution in education technology to benefit learners of all ages. And like our alumni, you are dedicating your lives and careers to the pursuit of social justice, a TC tradition that literally goes back to our founder, Grace Hoadley Dodge. It was her vision to establish a college that would prepare teachers to work with immigrant students and their families who had recently fled poverty, war, and prejudice, and were still encountering bias and penury. It was also Grace Dodge's brilliance to recognize the need for a new kind of educator, one with the skills, cultural understanding, and self-awareness to relate to immigrants' educational, health, and psychological needs. Thanks to Grace Dodge, Teachers College quickly became a force for increasing educational opportunity and upward mobility in New York City and soon throughout the nation and the world. TC's commitment to social justice that began with Grace Dodge has grown ever since through the work of so many other TC faculty and alumni, from John Dewey and Maxine Green to Edmund Gordon, and right down to the faculty and graduates assembled here today. But now, our work in social justice takes on renewed urgency. For all the progress and landmark achievements we've made, America in 2016 is still confronted by the stubborn persistence of racism and growing inequities in education, health, and economic opportunity. The current manifestations of intolerance are seen in so many distressing events and phenomena: the contamination of drinking water in Flint, Michigan, the mass incarceration of young Black men, the widening disparities in high school graduation rates, income, health, and life expectancy, the mounting death toll of unarmed people of color at the hands of police in various cities, and of course, the continued repercussions of racial, religious, gender, and gender identity prejudice that are evident in political dialogue. And who among us could ignore tragic consequences of intolerance, violent conflict in the world, and the worst refugee crisis since the end of World War II? Graduates, we're living in perilous times. And yet, I've been inspired by the many ways you and our faculty have risen to the challenges of these times. First, you've helped the college become a more effective agent of social justice, beginning with your call, working with the Student Senate or Students for Quality Education on TC to facilitate more robust discussions on race, gender, and class. You advanced the Civic Participation Project's mission of making available new knowledge in the service of greater forms of inclusion for those who've been marginalized, oppressed, or excluded. And through your participation in the Racial Literacy Roundtable series, you've helped to raise awareness of the need to recognize and counter the biases of race, class, and privilege to which none of us is immune. The second way that you've advanced social justice at TC has been through your contributions to innovative faculty-driven initiatives. Some of you have worked with our faculty in human development to mine the data generated by smart systems, tutoring systems, and other technologies in order to detect patterns that reveal the learning issues that prove the most challenging for individual students, classrooms, and entire districts. This work can help redirect resources and attention to groups or populations where the need is greatest. Those of you in our Adult Learning and Leadership program have helped to build a more inclusive society by advancing research on how leaders and managers can strengthen their organizations, promoting and leveraging meaningful diversity. Many of you played a part in the success of our George Clement Bond Center for African Education, which has worked with schools in New York City to help a growing number of students from African countries adjust to their new lives in American schools. Those of you who have been involved in our Center on Chinese Education have contributed to our continuing collaboration with Chinese agencies and entities to expand educational opportunities to millions of school children in Chinese communities, particularly in poorest rural communities. And many of you were enormously instrumental in the success of a project making great contributions to TC, the organization of more than 60 courses across the college into a race, ethnicity, and intercultural understanding curriculum map. This historic undertaking will have a significant impact on TC's ability to prepare students across the entire college to become future leaders in understanding and addressing the great challenges related to race and diversity. The third way you've advanced social justice has been in your individual work. Take James Nadeau. Everyone talks about helping students from under-oppressed groups go to college. James Nadeau wants to ensure that they stay there and get their degrees. After college, James worked for a nonprofit in Zambia to help low-income students attend private boarding schools and was later tapped by New York's Opportunity Network to build partnerships with institutions of higher education and advocate for students who were falling through the cracks. James says he came to TC to learn how to improve students' lives through student developmental theory, organizational theory, and education policy. In TC's program on higher and post-secondary education, he has assessed student advising at Hostos Community College, worked with the New Jersey Council of County Colleges to boost graduation rates, and assisted Professor Noah Dresner in launching a new journal devoted to higher education philanthropy. In just a few days, James will become the program director for the Posse Foundation's new collaboration with Dartmouth, Vassar College, and Wesleyan to help military veterans transition from the battlefield to the college classroom. Veterans have so much to offer, but when it comes to higher education, they're a population that are being overlooked, James says. Posse is doing something really innovative, and they're always open to re-examining the best way to do it. James, it's inspiring to see you applying your TC experience to serve those who have served our country the most. Thank you. Another TC student who has already used his talents to serve others is cognitive studies graduate Ilya Lyshevsky. Homelessness is an everyday crisis that every one of us wishes to do something about. Some of us give money to a homeless person, which often does more harm than good. Some give food, but that's only a temporary fix. Most of us simply avert our gazes and walk away. But for Ilya Lyashevsky, that's just not an option. Ilya developed a smartphone app called We Shelter. When you tap the big green button, you automatically prompt a small donation from one of We Shelter's 3 sponsors to service organizations that offer housing to homeless people and help them rebuild their lives. The app can also connect you to the city's 311 call center, which dispatches a homeless outreach and mobile engagement street action team. We Shelter collects data to map where homeless people are located within the city, and it even keeps you updated on the work of organizations you have supported. We Shelter reflects Ilya's understanding about social and emotional learning. When people take the first step and tap the green button, they're more likely to take the second step, he says. We Shelter not only engages us by empowering us to fight one of the world's most stubborn problems, it also builds our self-awareness and social awareness and helps us to become better, more caring people. Ilya, that's what Teachers College has always been about, the pursuit of social justice. And now, thanks to you, there's an app for that. Graduates, the important work that all of you are doing in pursuit of social justice is very much at the core of what makes TC great. In this very large room are educators who will help students from traditionally underrepresented groups see themselves as future mathematicians, scientists, engineers, bringing much-needed diversity to our nation's workforce in the STEM fields. Others among you will help shape education for the millions of young people now living in refugee camps and communities around the world. Still others will devise new methods for understanding and untangling the intractable conflicts that threaten the very safety of our planet. Some will create better educational assessments that genuinely help teachers to understand barriers to student learning and to tailor their instruction to individuals' needs. Or you'll reshape liberal arts education for a generation of American college students who hail from cultures all around the world. But all of you will have a hand in changing the trajectories of the lives you touch for the better, and they will change you. Why? Because your quest for social justice is more than a resolve to confront what's wrong in our society and make it right. It's also a summons for you to continue to deepen your knowledge and understanding of all the lives you touch, their cultures, their experiences, their realities, so you can work with them to achieve brighter futures. The challenges confronting our society remain as daunting as ever, but our faculty and I are optimistic about the future because we've taken the full measure of your talents, integrity, and fitness to become leading thinkers, advocates, professionals, and scholars. We're confident that individually and collectively, you will make the greatest possible difference in the world. This is your time. Keep bright the chain of social justice that started for all of us at TC's founding. Congratulations. We've now reached the moment in this ceremony when we honor an extraordinary individual whose life's work has advanced the cause of education while upholding TC's core mission to foster excellence and equity in the fields we serve. This year, we honor 4 preeminent scholars and practitioners: Tom Frieden, Chris Gutierrez, Susan Fisk, and Sandra Jackson Dumont. I'm very pleased to welcome TC Professor Lalisla Vasudevan, joined by Provost Thomas James, to introduce Chris D. Gutierrez. Thank you.
Good afternoon and congratulations, graduates. It is my pleasure to invite our medalist, Professor Chris Gutierrez, to join us at the podium. Chris D. Gutierrez. Lawrence Kremen, Teachers College's great education historian, argued that context often is the most essential variable in learning. In 21st century America, where the student population reflects increased diversity in cultural backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives, you have led the field in exploring the importance of context and leveraging its impact in education. Your scholarship combines rich and elegant ethnographic studies of entire school districts with your firsthand experiencing partnering with local communities. As designer and director of an after-school learning club for low-income and immigrant children, as director of the UCLA Migrant Scholars Leadership Program, and as founder and facilitator of other research and pedagogically rich projects rooted in understandings of communities' cultural heritage. You have transformed the education world's approach to the nation's rapidly growing population of English language learners and those from other non-dominant communities. Your vision of teaching toward possibility not only challenges educators to move beyond narrow conceptions of disciplinary knowledge, it also makes a powerful case for enabling young people to occupy an educational third space, offering multiple opportunities to think creatively and to develop new meanings. This 21st century blueprint for democratic education addresses the importance of culture in mediating learning, while recognizing the nuanced and varied impacts of cultural experiences. You have shown that all students thrive in rigorous learning environments that are rich in resources, that promote a wide range of literacy practices, and that engage linguistic and cultural diversities as strengths. UCLA, the University of Colorado at Boulder, and UC Berkeley have recognized your innovative scholarship by bestowing titles such as Inaugural Provost Chair and Professor Emerita. You have also earned the acclaim of leading professional societies, including the American Educational Research Association, where you served as president.
Chris Gutierrez, for championing the needs of all students, for affirming that scholars can and must have a lasting impact beyond the academy, and for providing all of us with a context for teaching toward possibility. We are proud to present you with the Teachers College Medal for Distinguished Service.
Thank you for this wonderful honor. In honor of the late Prince, I was tempted to start up by saying, "Dearly beloved." But instead, I'll simply say to the Teachers College Board of Trustees, President Susan Furman, Mr. Jack Hyland, co-chair of the board, the Alumni Council, Provost Tom James, distinguished faculty, cherished families, and honored graduates. I am honored to be your commencement speaker at one of the finest universities in the world. Graduates, you've already distinguished yourself as you now become one of the 7.2% of people in the country who hold master's degrees. There are few moments in your life that will bring such pride and joy to your families, friends, and loved ones. Today, some of you continue the proud legacy in your family of obtaining advanced degrees. Others of you are part of a new generation of young scholars who are creating new trajectories for your families and communities. I am part of the latter group. I am the daughter of a copper miner who was also a decorated World War II veteran and of a teacher's aide. Parents who provided the context of development for me to excel and flourish. We lived for generations in a small company-owned mining town with a previous history of racial segregation that placed Native Americans and Mexican Americans, as they were termed then, into separate schools until the 1950s. African Americans were even further segregated. It was a town and region ravaged by extreme environmental toxicity, both from the mines and from the nuclear fallout, from above-ground testing until the 1960s in Nevada. As you science graduates may know, radiation fallout travels downwind, creating cancer corridors in its path. We lived in this cancer corridor. My mother and I are downwinders, that is, people meeting the government criteria to classify our cancers as related to the downwind radiation. My mother recently passed away from her second radiation exposure-related cancer. Despite these constraints, this was a resilient ecology that for decades produced a remarkable number of second, third, and fourth generation Chicana doctors, lawyers, engineers, teachers, lots of teachers, a US congressman, a US Secretary of Treasury, a MacArthur Genius Award winner, and professors, including yours truly. Arguably, this experience had a profound influence on my life and my scholarship, and what gives value and meaning to my work. Across my professional and personal life, I have worked to develop a new social imagination about the world as it could be. Key to that imagination has been recognizing the humanity and ingenuity in, as well as the hope and possibility of everyday people. C. Wright Mills argued the importance of developing a sociological imagination. Graduates, it is this need for a new imagination, one that involves rethinking the importance of developing relationships and learning from everyday people, that I wish to talk about today. There's an old song, Everyday People, by Sly and the Family Stone, that reminds us that we are all everyday people. Sometimes I'm right, and I can be wrong. My own beliefs are in my song. The butcher, the baker, the drummer, and then makes no difference what group I'm in. I am everyday people. Yeah, yeah. Oh, sha, sha. We gotta live together. If I could sing, I would have. As corny as the words are from this old song, they still resonate with profound issues that you must confront, regardless of whether your focus is in health, education, policy, psychology, or STEM-related fields, whether in national or international contexts. Youth across learning environments are experiencing heightened forms of disconnected learning, trauma, discrimination, and health-related issues. Schools are more segregated today than they were several decades ago. Monolingualism is the prevailing language ideology in a country that is increasingly polylingual. While there is superdiversity in cities and regions of the country, these areas are also marked by superpoverty. National and local discourses around race, gender identity, sexuality, national origin, immigration status, language, and difference in general are increasingly amplified by intolerance, hate, and bigotry. Some potential and elected policymakers talk about and make policy without regard to fact, science, or understanding of the very communities who would be most affected by public, social, and educational policy. Do they know what it is like to study and work and just engage in daily life? If you were a student attacked by a school security guard, as in Baltimore, or negotiate the everyday violence in Chicago, or experience the increased ICE raids for Latino and other immigrant families. Graduates, this is your challenge. Rather than succumbing to despair or cynicism, or inadvertently perpetuating reductive and problematic narratives about the people and communities with whom you will work, I ask you to see resilience instead of deficit, to imagine new futures instead of failure, to see hope and possibility in your everyday practices as well as in those with whom you will work. In short, I urge you to develop a new social imagination about what it means to engage in consequential work that has transformative potential, intellectually, educationally, and socially. You represent the finest young scholars from a range of programs, from human development, international transcultural studies, math, science, and technology, to organizational management and leadership. And you will enter careers and become leaders. You will take your knowledge, skills, and expertise to the educational, nonprofit, and corporate worlds. And while you have developed the requisite skills, indeed skills central to your professions, these toolkits are insufficient to engage in transformative change if you view your individual success as being at odds with working toward the public good. But this move requires learning to see differently, to seek complex understandings to complex problems, and knowing that doing your work brilliantly and with integrity involves seeing people and communities in their full humanity. This focus on learning from everyday people has been instrumental to my work as a learning scientist, interested in how people learn, as a qualitative methodologist, interested in the importance of learning about youth and families' everyday routines, to understand how people live culturally, and to understand the ingenuity involved in the new media practices of working families. As an education researcher interested in advancing a view of learning as the organization of possible futures, I've spent my life designing robust learning environments where all youth could be smart. And this meant being in and part of the everyday lives in order to design, to advise around educational policy, and to lead. I would like to turn very briefly to one such event that served as a profound reminder that some of the richest moments of learning take place in everyday interactions. In 2011, I was president of the American Educational Research Association, one of the largest professional organizations in the US and the world. Its conferences generally include 13 to 15,000 people. My conference held in New Orleans was by all accounts hugely successful, and at the end of that long week, I was both proud and exhausted. Now, there are a few perks that come with being ARA president, but one involves getting picked up and driven back to the airport. Except that the New Orleans Marriott didn't have a driver. Instead, Keith, the bellman, doubled as their driver. And so here is where my learning began. As I was reflecting in the car on the week's events during my ride to the airport, I spotted an old cemetery with large tombstones and vaults, and I wondered aloud who might be there. This sparked the beginning of a remarkable conversation with Keith, the driver, whose historical knowledge of the city was carried in a detailed and intricate narrative about his family's history, a story interspersed with proclamations about the importance of education and the need for people to know their histories, and how a good education could provide that opportunity. Here, sitting in the front seat of the car, was an historical actor, known to most as the bellman of the New Orleans Marriott, where he had worked for nearly 30 years. When I began asking him about his family, he remarked that the Plessy family had been residents in New Orleans for generations. Some were well-to-do and some poor folk like him, he said. One side of the family, he shared, had been politically active, especially his great cousin Homer A. Plessy, a shoemaker in Tremé. In 1892, Mr. Plessy had been arrested for sitting in a railroad car in a section reserved for white people instead of sitting in the designated car for black people. Keith had my attention. Keith asked if I had ever heard of Homer Plessy. He was pleased that I had and impressed with my knowledge of Plessy versus Ferguson. As a reminder to those of you in the audience, in 1986, In 1896, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of segregation under the separate but equal doctrine in the case Plessy versus Ferguson, in which restrictive legislation based on race continued until 1954, when Brown v. Board. The case Plessy versus Ferguson, of course, remains a landmark case with far-reaching implications for generations of African Americans and other members of non-dominant communities. Keith Plessy had learned about his relationship to this historic case from his teachers in New Orleans. He'd also learned from family stories and teachers about Treme, one of the oldest Black neighborhoods in the country that had been populated by free and freed African Americans. He was proud of his family's history and leveraged it towards important ends. Fast forward to the present. Keith Plessy and Phoebe Ferguson, a documentary filmmaker and great-granddaughter of Judge John Howard Ferguson, who had ruled against Plessy, had joined forces and founded the Plessy and Ferguson Foundation for Education, Preservation, and Outreach to develop an understanding of this historic case and its effects on the American conscience. Keith spends much of his time outside his work as a bellman, speaking to audiences about the case and its importance. I was captivated for so many reasons by Keith Plessy's life story and his commitment to education as a civil right. But as of relevance to my talk today, I was both humbled and in awe of the life of this so-called everyday man who, in the span of a ride to the airport, taught me about history, about the way we read and misread folks, and how much there is to learn from a focus on the everyday routines and histories of people with whom we interact. Mr. Keith Plessy, like his well-known cousin Homer, were everyday men who became historical actors by doing something ordinary and making it into something extraordinary. As historical actors, they learned about their unjust past, used this understanding as a resource for the present, for future action. Graduates, you have the opportunity to do something ordinary in your work and to turn that work into something extraordinary. The question for you, dear graduates, is what kind of historical actors do you want to become? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our student speaker, David Talafiero, Department of Organization and Leadership.
Good afternoon, Teachers College. Welcome, distinguished guests, faculty and staff, friends and families, and congratulations to my fellow graduates, the TC class of 2016. I believe I speak for my fellow graduates when I say that today is not only a celebration, but a moment of reflection. So I hope you don't mind if I take this opportunity to explore what my time at TC has meant. I believe my recollections may resonate for many of you as well. Diversity can mean many things, not just countries or cultures, but also very different life experiences. Creating a diverse community of learners has always been a cornerstone of TC. For that, I am humbled and grateful to stand before you today to tell you what the learning in this diverse community of students, faculty, and staff has done for me. Each of you has played a part in rekindling my spirit for learning in an atmosphere that has allowed for shared thought and opinion amongst a seemingly endless range of backgrounds and expertise. So how did I, a tactical officer from the United States Merchant Marine Academy and veteran of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, come to study change leadership on West 120th Street and Broadway? I'm glad you asked. As in most major life decisions, I arrived at TC in a roundabout way. After my deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan and several years working in the maritime industry, I went to work at the Merchant Marine Academy hoping to leverage my experiences to serve as a mentor for the midshipmen. Very early in my time at the Academy, I recognized that experience alone was not going to be enough to help me make the impact I wanted. I needed to change myself in order to take up my new role. In canvassing the available options, I was fortunate that my colleagues at the United States Military Academy, West Point, pointed me towards TC. And while discovering TC, I came across a unique program that seemed especially salient for my desire to balance my role as a service member and an educator. That program, known as the Executive Masters in Change Leadership, or XMA, provided an environment where I could make sense of my own experiences and subsequently facilitate my midshipmen to do the same. Working with my XMA colleagues from organizations and businesses around the world has been life-changing. In the course of learning a great deal about leadership, organization development, and change, I discovered that change and diversity were linked. I saw how valuable diversity was in the challenging back and forth needed for individual and organizational change. In the end, I appreciated that leading this kind of change was messy, but a transformative process. Many of the lessons flew in the face of my military training. As a service member, we learned to put personal needs at arm's length in order to accomplish the mission at hand, to promote teamwork and personal sacrifice above all. XMA taught me something very different, that working towards change is both an intellectual and an emotional journey, which requires focus at the individual level. Those lessons have changed the way I lead my midshipmen and will influence my return to active duty this fall for my 4th overseas deployment. As TC graduates, we are all now traveling into uncharted waters, and for that, I offer the following nautical reference as some assistance. Perhaps the most romantic idea of being out at sea is the art and science of navigating by the celestial bodies, namely the stars. As a navigator, you learn to count on the stars as a frame of reference, without which you would be lost. Whether a ship moving through the ocean or an organization negotiating a transformative change, determining where you are in the process is dependent on your ability to reference the stars or the diverse opinions in your organization. As a navigator, if you only reference certain stars of one part of the sky, it is very difficult to determine the position of your vessel against your course. The objective is to achieve a 3-star fix, a perfect pinwheel of references to provide your ship, your organization, your community with the most accurate position. Prior to my time at TC as a leader, I struggled as a community navigator. I tended to look at the stars I've been familiar with all my life. Though I had seen millions of other stars, I stuck to looking for the ones I was most comfortable referencing. At TC, I learned not only to navigate towards a more accurate position, but learned the excitement of seeking out new stars and become a more effective leader and change agent. The other lesson I take with me is lifelong learning is just that, for life. So when today seems like a faded memory, we have to remind ourselves of the journey on which lifelong learning takes us, and that even in the darkest moments, the stars will be there to guide us. So find your 3-star fix, set your course, and remember the African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Thank you, Teachers College, and congratulations to my fellow navigators.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome doctoral candidate Shulamit Hoffman, master's candidate Marcus Ling, and the TC Ensemble.
Strife, I hear the music ringing. can I keep from singing? I hear the truth, it's giving. Songs in the night, it's giving. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since I believe that love abides, how can I keep from singing? How can I keep? When tyrants tremble when they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near. How can I keep from singing? In prison cell, in dungeon dark, our thoughts through them are winging. When friends hold courage in their hearts, how can I keep from singing?
We will now recognize each of the master's degree candidates.
Good afternoon. For many of you, I had the distinct pleasure of welcoming you when you first enrolled at Teachers College. Now today, we get to individually recognize and congratulate you on completing your degree requirements. At this time, it gives us great pleasure to read the names of those candidates for the Master of Arts, Master of Education, Master of Philosophy, and Master of Science degrees at Teachers College, Columbia University. All degrees will be conferred at the Columbia University ceremony tomorrow.
We'd now like to recognize the candidates in the Department of Human Development. Nicholson Durand.
Emily Taffet.
Elias Alvarez.
Craig Smith.
Demi Siskind.
Umugo Bezerhan.
Danielle Idoni.
Dakota Cintron.
Hannah Chaudhry.
Jessica Labroya.
Anne Levy.
Shannon Murphy.
Mariana Lamina.
Shuzi Meng.
Lisa Smith.
Xiaosha Liao.
Zhu Jin.
Kevin Yi Jian.
Jasmine Noel.
Qi Shi.
Yunjia Yao.
Amira Rose Shugaga.
Xiang Sun.
Miao Yang.
Yishan Zhang.
Wei Fan.
Yu Wang.
Qi Wang.
Yang Liu,
Ing Chao,
Kiara Anderson,
Chia-Ching Chang,
Robin Wen,
Shimeng Liu,
Kristen Bundy,
Anshi Young,
Madhurata Julaman,
Brianna Todd Hunter,
Minyong Lee,
Jingyi Su,
Eunice Yoon,
Georgia Quauta Ferreira Reyes de Oliveira,
Leah Sun,
William May,
Nicole Grula,
Youngju Oh,
Alexa Roth,
Hyojin Jennifer Kim,
Praise Okweme,
Nan Shu,
Kendra Whitfield,
Colleen Appenzado,
Maritza Morales Garcia,
Jing John,
Lauren Barbado,
Yi Zhang,
Kathleen Chilutzia,
Ray Fan,
Chen Drung,
Wenjing Fan,
Lin Wang,
Yuanji Xiu,
Shuang Chen,
Elva Yang,
Ilya Lyalchevsky,
Melissa Cesarano, Cheng Zhao, Hui Lu, will the students and the faculty from the Department of Human Development please stand and recognize our graduates?
Congratulations, well done. We'd now like to recognize the candidates in the Department of International and Transcultural Studies. Jessica Garber,
Emily Skanes,
Shinyi Lee,
Corey Blankenbeckler,
Noriko Kato,
Alan Scheidley,
Fozia Jallo,
Christian Tanja,
Alexandra Tamiko Dadalt,
Farhat Mansoom,
Rachel Ladani,
Lauren Davis,
Raymond Fong,
Chame,
Koji Sano,
Edward Choi,
Jay Tan,
Michael Ramsey,
Justina Kindrich,
Malshri Gungwar,
Amani Khatib,
Kristen Rookie,
Erica Leong,
Xingyi Tan,
Melody Wong,
Hannah Kim,
Marina Raolini Mananatso,
Stephanie O'Daniel,
Chiao Tian,
Anissa Imani,
Manbo Uyang,
Chin Chin Hua,
Shuidan Hu,
Tian Chu,
Jingsui Wang,
Xiaogu Li,
Siyu Shi,
Piyi Yuan,
Cassandra Pulse,
Xuan Pu,
Jacqueline Gaston,
Yujia Li,
Christine Bell,
Inin Lee,
Sheila Matsuda,
Jinling Kwan,
Yain Su,
Carla Ruiz,
Bingjing Dong,
Fatima Duran,
Shiari Kitajima,
Christina Urbano,
Danique Lee,
Effie Orlyanka Johnson,
Amanda Earl,
Deepika Narasimhan,
Emily Jensen,
Brianne Watkins,
Elizabeth Gutsagan,
Justine De Peralta,
Yonsu Gill,
Julia Lindemann,
Alice Young Shin,
Michael Dorselli,
Jenny Abamu,
Amy Vachon,
Leslie Cuellar,
Allison Einkoff,
Kate Min,
Corinne Verschuren,
Margaret Gall,
Kendra Strauss,
Katie Callahan,
Nasreen Mustafa,
Catherine Casey Baker,
Portia Patterson,
Caitlin Crandall,
Amanda Braga,
Holly Cook,
Karam Jang,
Laura Wagner,
Anne Marie Kelly,
Charlotte Bergen,
Ataneta Rosado,
Peter Bjorklund,
Jiseon Yu,
Taya Hogarth,
Jiai Chow,
Sophie Nazarian,
Siachio Ju,
Ji Yu,
Raymundo Lorraine,
Diogenes da Silva Severino,
David Gager,
Jing Wen Sun, the Marion R. Boltby and Michael Z. Smith Annual Fund Scholar. She's accompanied by TC alumna and Alumni Council member Marion R. Boltby. Jing Wen is one of the many TC students who benefit from the Annual Fund Scholarship support.
Will the students and the faculty from the Department of International and Transcultural Studies please stand and recognize our candidates?
All right, congratulations. We'd now like to recognize the candidates in the Department of Mathematics, Science, and Technology. Jang Hee Yi,
Elizabeth Begley,
Shin-Chi Liu,
Evan Watson,
Yen Zhang,
Anna Pizarro,
Erwin Lara,
Christina Arceo,
Adnan Ali,
Louisa Zhang,
Garim Park,
Stella Liano,
Deborah Go,
Sawaros Tanapornsangta,
Veronica Thomas,
Risa Gada,
Candace Ross,
Kevin Alster,
Christopher Doucette,
Joanne Beckwith,
Robert Marcus,
Feng Yi,
Thomas Tavares,
Juo Wang,
Charles Woods.
Linying Wang,
Alexa Kaplan.
Siying Du,
Brett Roel.
Dashin Zhang,
Mariah Dahl.
Xintong Chen,
Nicole Gosher.
Rui Guo,
Caroline Lake.
Yu Liao,
Jenny Shen.
Injia Zhen,
Joseph Samaglia.
Benjamin Dakwa,
Marco Mikado.
Yijun Ma,
Minju Park.
Xiang Sun,
Wangzi Chilu.
Chinlan Li,
Jiao Meng.
Victoria Jones,
Yushuan Ho.
Christina Hopkins,
Kaichon Tam.
Adam Ream,
Ramang Bai.
Erica Lamagna,
Veronica Kwalk.
Jenna Sudam,
Bona Kim.
Maria Ferrari,
Inwa Park.
Olga Polinkovich,
Haijin Kim.
Taylor Gable,
Jay Lee.
Christiana Yumukoro,
Mi Zhang.
Karen Sagana,
Priscilla Wan.
Jason Torres, will the students and the faculty from the Department of Mathematics, Science, and Technology please stand and recognize our candidates?
Congratulations. We'd now like to recognize the candidates in the Department of Organization and Leadership. Fairly in the house. Samuel Ortiz.
Margaret Connolly,
Lenny Kang.
Karen Pavon,
Tetsuya Kikyo.
Amber Avery,
Anthony Tello.
Priscilla Yuen,
Andrea DiMarco.
Yifei Chan,
Tabitha Stickle.
Sarah Oldham,
Lynn Sullivan.
Natasha Scott,
Gillian Murray.
Marjorie Renee Orcel Cozart,
Jeffrey Fisher.
Heidi Gifford,
Alice Goldsberry.
Maya Galashvili,
Alexandria Bragg.
Diana Sosa,
Stacia Comer.
Christian Ramos,
Courtney Holbert.
Marissa Dietrich,
Esther Alexis.
Joseph Libertor,
George Galindo.
Christine Kane,
Sean DeWeese.
Crystal Wilson,
Solji Lee.
Brenda Rivera,
Aitong Lee.
Chirag Patel,
Yenshia Fong.
Catalina Plua.
Maria Alejandra Albir.
Jaime Olmos.
Xu Yang.
Natasha Stanislas.
Linda Song.
Jason A. Pedraza.
Jennifer Perlmutter.
James Nadeau.
Marissa Pipe.
Rachel DePietro.
Ari Ort.
Kira Grant.
Natalie Levin.
Marnie Whalen.
Danielle Ambrogio.
Sherry Leung.
Sofia Suarez Solis.
Ini Kim.
Yoan Chio.
Julius Moyo.
Maria Ahmed.
Kathleen Gay.
Marvi Lavani.
Holly Tedder.
Nawana Bazil.
Allison Nichols.
Jasmine Fuller.
Daniel Prieto.
Molly Maymar.
Naja El Muhammad.
Kara Hiddle.
Anastasia Knapp.
Siu Zhu.
Brianna Milligan.
Sophia Moskovich.
Jessica Cho.
Carolyn Lieberthal.
Kelly Sutton Skinner.
Eliza Cooper.
Laura Maltz.
Leah Kashani.
Misam Matheson.
Henrietta Dreyer.
Siyun Hugh.
Azra Gul.
Jinyu Liu.
Kelly Tobin.
Kiwoon Yunnan.
Ellen Gray.
Fabian Schmidt Grossa.
Philip Novakovsky.
Vithi Thakur.
Matthew Michelson.
Jay Sharma.
Sarah Geiger.
Cindy Chen.
Laura Tegelberg.
Sabrina Khan.
Corey Kane.
Zach Christensen.
Shira Reitman.
Mandy Stevens.
Kate Oldry.
Carrie Baddick.
Theodosia Cook.
Zachary Horowitz.
Lane Clegg.
Graham Rabinowitz.
Aaron Aguirre Castillo. Aguirre.
Alasia Watson.
John Hennigan.
Isabel Polonia.
Isabella Anderson.
April Bang.
Rodolfo Lorero.
Samantha Hoja.
Joy Clark.
Perry Mao.
Stephanie Witt.
Eileen Palmer.
David Troutman.
Alicia Johnson.
Abby Wilson.
Roy Danovich.
Lucia Rocha Nestler.
Caroline Trottier.
Alyssa Rigg.
Rebecca Oceans.
Molly Coyne Gillespie.
Benjamin Ewing.
Jessica Cleveland.
Ina Siuk.
Vanessa Lugo Rippey.
Madeline Surgenor.
Artitia Taperson.
Scott Simantaki.
Nicole Grandinetti.
James Choi.
Nicola Evans.
Dennis Baker.
Lou Tenyu.
Alicia Davlin.
Ariel Starkman.
Steve Bloom.
Alexandra DeRosa.
Nathaniel Whitman.
Colleen Berry Taylor.
Patrick Mano.
Marissa Schoenfeld.
Heather Robinson.
Hope Hollenhead.
Timothy Castle.
Christina Guerrero.
William Forteeth.
Vanessa Quarenta.
Robert Jackson.
Jonathan Dionisio Pena.
Jill Riley.
Brett Stidham.
John Vineyard.
Kara Hafner.
Edith Madonas.
Miguel Ortega.
Jenna Sezionali Basilicato.
Chelsea Matthews.
Andrew Gaddis.
Giovanna Hackman.
Sam Cronish.
Rabin Nickens.
Michael Reitzman.
Sharifa Blackwell.
Glory Chen.
Janice Nolan.
Travis Heasley.
Sid Ross.
Jean Williams.
Shu Tao.
Craig Sherman.
Asha Gibson.
Christopher Silva.
Ginevra Drinka.
Seth Cotter.
Catherine Hormetz.
Tiffany Brown.
Christopher Duffy.
Leslie Migliaccio.
Aaron Vieira.
Terias Williamson.
Helene Weiner.
Samira Abdul Karim.
Allison Burke.
Cornelius Quinn.
Guillermo Wandike.
Alyssa Schneidmesser.
Jennifer Wilson.
Kurt Belohovic.
Ben Blaine.
David Laura.
John Wolneski.
Daniel Nadel.
Emma Kieran.
Randy Shed.
Veronica Marquez.
Travis Dolan.
Laura Gald.
David McLean.
Michaela Ablon.
David Wirt.
Wesley Lafitte.
Corey Sullivan.
Eric West.
Jacob Cross.
Richana Bede.
Chris Beach,
Lance Tinney,
Gerald Gorse,
Joseph Woods,
Michael Eisenlohr,
Abigail Leung,
Kyle Stillwell,
June Lee,
Kathy Rocheda,
Veronica Joseph,
Yilin Wong,
Judith Sababera,
Paul Lee,
Eduardo Alvarez,
Alexis Alcober,
Jim Hess,
Shion Matthew,
Jeremy Yee,
Denise Cunningham,
David Taliaferro,
Chris Rosado,
Parvin Sharma,
Michelle Flinch,
Carly Cooper,
Matthew Fetterman,
Sue Yuan,
Duran Dewan,
Alexander Subashi,
Jennifer Dew,
Alexander Zarganis,
Colin McWilliams,
Urka Amersi,
Jessica Luck,
Nicole Zabunian, Khadija Aftab,
Lakisha Ramdani, will the students and the faculty from the Department of Organization and Leadership please stand and recognize our graduates? And would all of our faculty and our students please stand and be recognized?
And now, for the presentation of the candidates, please welcome Provost Thomas James.
President Furman, Mr. Highland, trustees, faculty, staff, and guests, it is my pleasure as Provost of the College to present you the master's candidates from Teachers College. Please hold your applause until all the candidates have been recognized. Would the Master of Arts candidates please stand, be recognized, and remain standing? Would the Masters of Science candidates please stand and be recognized and remain standing? Would the Masters of Philosophy candidates please stand to be recognized and remain standing? Would Master of Education candidates now please stand to be recognized and remain standing? President Furman, I ask you to recommend these students for the granting of their master's degrees tomorrow morning at the Columbia University commencement exercises. Please be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jeffrey Putman, the president of the Teachers College Alumni Association.
Alumni. Let me say that again. Alumni. It is my distinct pleasure to formally welcome you into the Teachers College Alumni Association. As you stand here before this esteemed group of trustees, administrators, and your family, your faculty, and your friends, alongside your peers, we look on with great pride. Today, at this moment, you join our Alumni Association, a network of over 90,000 professionals, comprising alumni from all 10 academic departments and all walks of life and career stages, who have made significant impact in the world, and we have no doubt that you will carry this legacy forward. Congratulations. Your fellow Teachers College alumni have truly made a global mark. Shaping many fields of inquiry and practice, they have done so because of their intelligence, sensitivity, drive, knowledge, experience, and wisdom. They have also done so because of the people like the ones around you today, building solid support systems and a network of peer mentors. And many would argue that they have done so because of their Teachers College preparations. And we know that you too will follow in these footsteps and make your own mark in your respective fields. Just as you occasionally needed some support throughout your time at TC, we know you will need similar resources as you embark on your careers. I am here today to tell you how valuable your participation in your Alumni Association can be. We are colleagues and collaborators, supporters and challengers, mentors and mentees, and most important, we are your peers. What holds us together is our alma mater, Teachers College. While everyone had a slightly different journey, I am certain that no one's path leading to this time and place was free of challenges. I am also certain that along the way, you found inspiration, insight, and joy. And many of you have developed what will be lifelong friendships. I encourage you to stay connected to your classmates and fellow graduates as you move forward in your careers, and to tap into the deep pool of expertise and knowledge offered by the broader TC community. We hope to not only see you at future alumni events, but also to feature your work in future newsletters and awards. Please remember that you will always have a home and rich community at TC, which you can access both physically and virtually. On behalf of your fellow alumni, we all wish you the best in your endeavors, and we hope that we have the opportunity to join you along the way. Congratulations and welcome to the Alumni Association.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Hyland.
Thank you. On behalf of all the trustees of Teachers College, I would want to congratulate each of you on your very special achievement. We thank your family and friends for joining with the faculty and staff of Teachers College to recognize you, the master's candidates of the class of 2016. Please join us for light refreshments in Russell Courtyard at Teachers College, and for everyone who's not a graduate, kindly remain in your seats until all of our students have left the cathedral. Thank you very much.